Here's another gorgeous individual, Mr.
Great
Jeff
lines.
Marek.
Great lines.
Great lines. Look at the profile. Looks like a sports car.
Look at you every Friday.
How are you?
Saturdays. You buttering me up there, Matt.
Oh, yeah. Have to. Well, we put you through the ringer every week, both on the technological side that people don't see, and then with the Easter egg at the end of the interview. So, yes, absolutely buttering you up.
Okay, and maybe it flew by and I missed it, but listening to the last pod and you guys talking about the nickname for Braden Cootes.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. So there's one thing, and I'm listening to this in the car and I'm screaming guys, it's so obvious. It's right there.
What did we miss? What did we miss?
So the one thing that when you have young kids that play hockey, there's a sort of commonality around names, parents that are hockey fans, and there's a lot of Connors. See, there's a lot of Connors.
Yes.
A lot of Bradens too.
And a lot of Bradens. And you know what the Braden nickname always is?
Huh?
Braids.
Braids?
Braids. That's what it's guys. That's what it's going to be. It's not going to be cutesy. Because Blake's point's the right one. Cutesy is too cutesy. 100%. It'll be braids. It'll be braids.
But the NHL has a fascination with last names, Jeff. They don't want to do first name nicknames. They want to do last. Like, he couldn't be Cootie, right?
No.
He couldn't be
guys, watch. It'll
Cooter,
be braids.
Right?
It'll be braids. No, it ain't going to be that. It's going to be braids.
That.
I don't think it's going to be
I don't think it's allowed to be that. I don't think it's allowed.
That's against the code. That's against the code. That's against other things, too. Sorry. Didn't mean to bring that up.
We are not under CRTC's watch anymore.
No, we're not. No, we're not, Jeff. Explore the space like Thomas Muller. You've got freedom now. You've been liberated.
See previous comment about every Friday have 2 Saturdays. I'm Matt Harris. Welcome to my show.
All right.
Hey guys.
Thanks for that. We'll go with braids. By the way, last year's dub names, like we told Sanaya Saperji, last year's dub names off the chain. Okay, get ready for some draft picks out of the WHL. Whose names you're going to go like, his name there's a kid named Cash in Medicine Hat. There's a kid named Cash in Medicine Hat.
No, but they're just making things up. They're conflating 2 other crazy names that we've made fun of in the past, and they're making new ones.
I'm waiting for the first Creighton.
Yeah.
Hang on. I'll give you a catch. So on my son's team, my son plays for the Reps in the GTHL, and on his team there's a Cash. And as a tournament on the weekend, I asked his dad, I'm just curious. I'm legitimately curious. Like, how did you come by that name? It's a great answer. He said, I was a big Johnny Cash fan. My wife's a big Johnny Cash fan. So we named him Cash. And his middle name is Carter.
Okay. June Carter. Yeah.
Isn't that cool? I'm I'm really glad I asked. And also, Cash Carter is a pretty cool first and second name. But anyway, you're my Cash's.
I'm glad the answer wasn't because he's my meal ticket. He's going to the NHL.
Daddy wants a cottage on Lake Joseph, so I better be Cash.
I need cash.
Guys, I'm not lying to you. There's a kid who just made Canada's World Under 17, Cash Christie's from here in North Van. I believe he's going to be a Medicine Hat Tiger. Went to St. George's here. So, anyways, we've got dueling Cashes on either side of the country. First one to the NHL wins the bonus. Let's talk about the hockey game last night.
No, it's so much fun. Hockey sucks. Let's talk about this.
It's the stuff around the sport that's really fun. That was a big win for the Canucks last night against a good team, and especially after falling behind 2-0 in the first period. What caught your eye?
Good 30 minutes. That first period, I think we're all on the same page. Like, this is going to be a long night here for Vancouver, and if it's not for Thatcher Demko, it probably would have been a long night for the Vancouver Canucks. A lot of things to be impressed by. Connor Garland was fantastic. I don't know how he gets out of that game when he's not one of the 3 stars. Demko deserved the first one easily, but how you not carving out a spot for Connor Garland after that performance last night? But you saw a little bit from everybody that you wanted to see, right? And a lot of it showed up on the scoreboard. Like, there were some moments that we saw from Elias Pettersson, specifically on the assist that he got, where he's really great puck protection along the boards down low, It's what you want. That's great. I don't know. I thought it was like a really good, like, I'm not sure what happened in the first intermission. Was it a Herbie? Like, did Adam Foote go full Herbie on the team? Is it too early for the Herbie? Peeling paint? We don't know, but they came out of a much different squad. And listen, that's a gutsy win against a team that we all look at and say, listen, this is a team that looks like they can win the Stanley Cup, provided they don't play the Edmonton Oilers. Like, that's a really good Dallas team. That's a good, that's a really good, honest win by the Vancouver Canucks. And some signs of better play from Evander Kane. I think we've talked about this before. I love lob passes. I love lobbing pucks in front of goaltenders. And I thought Evander Kane's lob from his own zone was fantastic last night.
For that reason, right? Because it's the bounces of the frozen disc, and you never know when you're going to get that positive bounce, and boom, you're away. What I thought was important, and we've seen this from this Canucks team before, even when they're playing very well, we have higher expectations of them, where great that they have a comeback, but they would have stopped at 3-2. The 4-2 goal is so important for exactly the reason that the game panned out. That, if you want to put a team away, you want to make sure you win that game, you have to add to leads. You can't be happy that you came back and got a lead. You have that 4-2 goal was enormous. And we've criticized this team before of, when's the last 2-goal lead they've had? Blah, blah, like that was huge for me.
When I always think about that's an interesting point, because when I always think about that, there's one team that comes to mind where when they buried you, they really buried you. And that was the Edmonton Oilers of the 80s. Like, that's the only team I think that I ever saw, Blake, that it seemed to me when you scored on them, they took it personally. Like, how dare you? How dare you score on us? And then they would just like rip off like 4 goals in 6 minutes. And the game was over. I couldn't agree with you more. I want that team that doesn't just want to win a game, but wants to send a message. Like, 2 points is 2 points. It doesn't matter if it's a 1-goal game or a 3-goal game, but we're here to send messages if we can. The Oilers were the best at it. Again, like, they were personally offended. This was a great affront that you had the nerve to score against us. How dare you? And Vancouver was on the wrong end of that for a lot of years in the Smythe division. I get that. But that really is like when you have a team that can really bury a squad like that. Because I'll tell you what, the other one that I always the one stat that I always look sideways on that I think we always misread is amount of 1-goal games that are won. Right? At the end of the year, they go, oh, this team's won 21-goal games. They know how to play
they're clutch
checking down. Like, that's a playoff score. They know how to do that. I look at that and I always say, I'm way more impressed in the team that just buries you. Like, how many 3-goal games have they won? Like, that 4-goal games have they won? Because you know what 1-goal games are like in the regular season. It's half a puck here, half a puck there. It's off the toe, it's off the heel, it's off the back of a skate. When I hear people gushing about how many 1-goal games a team has won, I generally think you're sort of celebrating something that's not really controllable, and that's luck.
That's what most analytics folks would tell you. The 1-goal win is actually indicative of a team that was 50-50 to get to where they were.
Yes.
Yep. You mentioned the lob passes, and I'm with you. I absolutely love them, and we're seeing more of them. It is absolutely a tactic these days in the National Hockey League. I mean, hockey's gotten so good entertainment-wise because everybody can skate now and everybody can play with the puck. I want to talk to you about speed for a second here, Jeff, because when Philip Hedl showed up here last year after the JT Miller trade, everybody in the market, all Canucks fans, just noticed the pace that he played with, and particularly as a puck carrier into the offensive zone. The Canucks have not had fast teams here for a long time. So, like, Philip Hedl looked like Gaetan Boucher out there. Like, he was just... But no, honestly, it was like...
We're going to have to give people a whole, like sourcing on who Gaetan Boucher is.
Famous Canadian speed skater in the 80s. Moving right along. Can you win... Can you win in the NHL? Can you score enough goals to go the distance if you don't have the speed element as part of your offensive attack?
You can. And we just saw that with the Florida Panthers. Right? But then again, at the same time, I'm not one of these people that thinks that there's only one way to win. in the NHL.
No.
Like there's a lot of different ways to win. I mean, this is the copycat league. You ape whatever is successful from the previous year. And then everybody chases, the success that we just saw in the playoffs. The Panthers are not a fast team. Panthers are a skill team. There are some play. Gustav Forsling is a good skater. Anton Lundell is a good skater. I don't think you're looking at anybody on this team and saying that guy's a burner. Oh, this guy's just going to torch you. Give him a couple of feet and he's gone. Like that's not the Florida Panthers. But I think it's always better to have some players that have that element, right? Like you look at what was the one thing that, outside of Connor McDavid, the thing that the Oilers, kept on looking for was more speed. And that's how they settled on Kasperi Kapanen. And that, again, like outside of a couple of players on that Oilers team, as far as foot speed goes, they may have the fastest in Connor McDavid and a really great one in Kasperi Kapanen, but I would never describe them as a fast skating team. The other thing about speed, and you know what? I'll tell you what, there's an interesting thing that happened last year with Adam Fantilli in Columbus. And this happens to a lot of players, and maybe just specifically players coming out of college. They tend to play at one speed. And we saw this with Fantilli. Fantilli's a great skater and super fast, but everything he did was super fast, and you make yourself very predictable. And he struggled because of it. And we saw in the second half of last season, and you look at his 5-on-5 production in the second half, it was off the charts. And it wasn't until he learned how to mix up speed and play with different pace. McDavid is the king of it, right? He'll allow gap to close and then burn guys. Until you can start playing with your speeds, then you become, until then you're really predictable and easier to defend. Speed is such an interesting wild card too. You love to have it, but I don't think it is the be all and end all of this game. I still think the old saying that the puck moves faster than the feet. I think that's obviously still true. We saw that with 2 Stanley Cups with Florida.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying watching it here Hedl and Sasson score goals last night. That speed is a part of it, and just wasn't enough of that for the longest time with these.
The burner doesn't exist.
I'm not saying it's not important. I just don't think that it's the be all and end all. Like if you have it as a weapon, awesome. Just like if you have a guy that can fire peas from the point, that's fantastic. But really, on the power play now, you're shooting for rebounds. But if you have a guy that can zip in 20 from the point, that's awesome. There's a lot.
But you're supported by the fact there aren't burners that exist anymore. Like there aren't really Mason Raymonds and Matthew Lombardis out there anymore. Like the guys that are just built on speed. Like there's the super high end, like the Connor McDavid's, obviously. But we used to see guys that made the NHL purely on speed, and I don't think those guys exist anymore.
Well, I think that's because you still had some slow guys on every team, Blake.
Right,
you still had some lumbering defensemen that Mason Raymond could walk, right? Yeah. Whereas everybody is a better skater now, and everyone has better lateral agility, and so it's harder to turn the corner with pure speed 100%. On a defenseman.
I'm really glad. I'm glad you got us there, because it winks at a point that I've been trying to make for the longest time here now, and that is, first of all, I go to any game, whether it's minor hockey, whether it's minor league hockey, it doesn't matter. I always come away with the same thing. Where did all the bad skaters go? Mm-hmm. Everybody has a certain baseline in being able to skate and to shoot and to play make, compete, like all of it. So we're in a really interesting era right now where general managers are saying to their scout, their amateur scouts, find me guys that can do something else too. And what's that other thing now? It's toughness, it's compete, it's those types of things that won the Florida Panthers a couple of Stanley Cups. Now it's the race to have tough players. Mind you, they can all still skate. There's still a baseline of skating that you have to have in this league. But what is that intangible? What is in a league where everybody can skate and everybody can shoot and everybody can play make? What is the intangible that managers are looking for now? Bring me tough players.
Yep.
McKinnon and McDavid play with some snarl. Like honestly, both of those guys play angry, and those are the top two players in the league, and they play angry. So, and you know what? To his credit, if we bring this back to the Canucks, I think Elias Pettersson is trying to bring that to his game. It doesn't come to him as naturally as those other two guys, but the fact that we are praising, puck possession along the boards for Elias Pettersson and not the deke that Connor Garland made, like that sort of speaks to, I think, Elias Pettersson trying to establish a little more stoutness to his game.
What was the nicer play that we saw last night? Was it the deke or the behind or the between the legs pass?
He's fun to watch. He is.
We asked him to do his dekes.
No, we're talking Garland. We're talking Garland though. The Garland deke. Yeah.
Garland's deke was. I mean, listen, that's flatly, like, you look at that and you say, oh, that's the guy I remember watching in junior in the Q.
Oh, totally.
And it's just like Puck doesn't leave his blade and he does whatever he wants. It's just like hockey's easy. Then you remember he's playing the Dallas Stars.
I know. That's what made it impressive.
Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Good.
No, it's pretty good stuff. Now they've got to do it back to back though, and to me this is the test. Okay, great, you did this one off. What do you look like tonight? Same time zone. That's the good news. But what do you look like tonight? That'll be interesting.
That's there's that. I think we're all wondering the same thing about the Buffalo Sabres, who just put up an 8 spot.
One good win
against the Ottawa Senators, and they're facing off against the Florida Panthers, who can't buy a win right now tomorrow afternoon. And we're saying, what was that game against Ottawa? Is it they've turned the corner and that's really them, or in financial terms, stock terms, is that the dead cat bounce for the Buffalo Sabres? We don't know. We have no idea. So, and to the Vancouver Canucks, I think we're wondering the same thing, because that was the closest we saw to 3 periods of the Vancouver Canucks so far this season.
I want to ask you about this because I know you follow junior hockey pretty closely, and particularly there in Ontario, and of course the World Junior team. But we've been trying to explain to our audience that while Braden Cootes had a sensational preseason training camp and, yes, played NHL games, and that will put him ahead of certain guys in terms of pecking order right now, this is one of the most extraordinarily competitive, I think, Canadian World Junior rosters that I've seen in some time, particularly at the center ice position, where I count 13 guys, Jeff, who if you put them on the team and said he's our first, second, third, fourth line center, everyone will go, yeah, great player. He does this. I mean, McQueen, Catton, Misa, Desnoyers, Hage, Martin, O'Reilly, Baudouin, Luchenko, Reshny, Lindstrom, Boisvert, and that's not even to talk about the wingers like McKenna and Martone and Seneca and Aginla and all that. What do you think Coots' chances are of making that Canadian World Junior team?
It's going to be incredibly difficult to make this team. I think you guys talked about this a couple of weeks ago, how, he gets sent back. There's no guarantees that he even makes the World Juniors, despite the fact that he made an NHL team. And you're right. I do wonder, there's a couple of players that I wonder about here, what's going to happen with Brady Martin with Nashville? What's going to happen? One of the wild cards, maybe here for Braden Cootes, or are we allowed to call him Braids yet? Are we allowed to use that?
Let's start it.
So what I'm worried about here with Braids is the same thing I'm worried about with Resch here. Cole Reshny's another one too, right? One's right-hand shot, one's left-hand shot, and they're sort of more similar than they are different. But what about someone like Jet Luchenko? We wonder about, you mentioned Michael Misa. Is he staying in San Jose? We kind of all suspect that he will. Much like, Sam Dickinson and Matthew Schaefer will probably stay with their NHL teams. Do they get assigned for a couple of weeks, go win the World Juniors in Minnesota? We'll see. But what about someone like Jet Luchenko, who I thought was one of Canada's best forwards? And he's playing fourth line center right now with the Philadelphia Flyers. And that fourth line with Grabenkin looks really good in Philadelphia right now. But again, is there a significant value in having Jet Luchenko play minimal minutes with the Philadelphia Flyers? Or do you want to send him back to Guelph of the OHL and then off to Minnesota for the World Juniors and have that experience, and then come back, rock and roll, ready to go with the Flyers next season? Don't know what the decision there is going to be. But I will say one thing for Braden Cootes, and this is what makes him so impressive. Give him a challenge. Give him a challenge. Going into training camp, who was saying that amongst all the kids drafted, that Braden Cootes has a shot at making the Vancouver Canucks?
Yeah, not many.
I'm supposed to know junior hockey. I didn't. I am so impressed. I remember I remember talking to people about him, and the one thing that I think you guys know, and all of Vancouver knows right now, one, he's a coach's dream. Give him an assignment, he will do it. He will not complain. He will find a way to make it work. Where I look at, it's going to be really difficult for him to make this team unless like there's teams that are keeping players. Berkeley Catton stays with Seattle. They do the up and down between the NHL and the American Hockey League team with them. Like, unless there's some players coming back, it's going to be really challenging. But I have a hard time betting against this guy now. Like, don't you? Just given what you saw at camp and what I saw at camp and making the Vancouver Canucks, I don't want to bet against them. I know it's going to be incredibly hard and the odds are against them. But from what we've seen, going back to various international tournaments and hearing what kind of player and person he is and what he was able to do with the Vancouver Canucks, I don't want to bet against them.
I also think that the Canucks did him a ton of favors in this regard, in that I think the coaching fraternity, how this works too, Jeff, is if the coaches saw him as an NHL player here for a few games, God, I got to respect that. That's he's been capped to some degree here. It's going to be up to a junior coach now to say, I disagree. He can't make my junior team, even though he made your pro team. That it's subconscious more than it is anything else. But I think it works in his favor.
And let's not forget too, this is, a lot of this is going to be on Dale Hunter's recommendation.
Yeah.
Right. And as well, let's not lose sight of one thing too. Right now, after the last two World Juniors for Team Canada, there's no messing around. There's no we're playing politics.
No.
There is none of that right now, more so than ever. You make the team, you make the team.
That's right.
Period. It doesn't matter where you
no
came
more
from.
of this.
No more. That is like from up on high with Hockey Canada. That is done.
No more of those Dave Cameron decisions. That was such a bad job last year. I not only don't want him on a hockey bench, I don't want him on a park bench or a work bench or any bench anywhere. We've come to the Easter egg. We are
I was
going
good last
to.
week.
You were very good. You were excellent. Want to shout out our interns, Elijah and Graziella.
I'm just going to keep answering Jim Sandlock until I'm ready.
Our interns brought this to us yesterday, Jeff, so we're going to twist it, give it a bit of a twist and put it to you. Okay. There have been 16 unique 100-point scorers over the last 3 full NHL seasons. 16 unique 100-point scorers over the last 3 full NHL seasons. Mm-hmm. How many are Canadian, and who are they?
Unique as in they got 100 points once?
One or more.
One or more 100-point season over the last 3. They have hit the 100-point plateau in one of the last 3 seasons.
How many are Canadian?
16 in total. How many are Canadian?
Marner and McKinnon, for sure.
They are correct.
Best player on the planet is missing still.
Oh my God, Connor McDavid.
he's on our team, thank God. 4 Nations needed him. Yep. Yeah. One more.
Let's see.
And he is the banana peel to this question, the one that would certainly not jump to the front of mind. He kind of takes a back seat on his own team, and yet he crested 100 points once over the last 3 years.
Oh my gosh.
Back seat on his own team.
I know the answers and I forget which you're talking about.
He plays with 2 really, really, really good players. And they probably help him get to 100 points.
Oh. Was it the team last night?
British Columbian. Very high draft pick.
All right.
Western.
I don't know. Who is it?
Ryan Nugent Hopkins.
Oh. Yeah, that is sneaky. There's a few banana peels in there.
Isn't that sneaky? Ryan Nugent Hopkins.
That is fantastic. Yes,
yeah.
Nuge. Sure.
104 points in 22-23.
Quick question here. I'm just sort of getting ahead of myself for the playoffs. I'm looking at the Edmonton Oilers. And one of the things, and we certainly saw this in the game against the Rangers the other night, where McDavid and Draisaitl are just, and you have to do it on the road, otherwise you just become too predictable and you can line match. But early on, like McDavid and Draisaitl separate, so much more effective. And now with Roslovic in the mix for the Edmonton Oilers, if you keep 97 and 29 separate, with Roslovic there, you have the beginnings of a great third line to win the Stanley Cup. Mm-hmm. And we talked so much about Florida's third line. We still sing, folk songs about Barclay Goodrow and Blake Coleman, right? And with the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Sammy Paulson line in 2007, etc. Really quietly here, I can't help but thinking like the Roslovic move is their sort of wink at we're building a really good third line here.
Mm.
The key, though, is to keep McDavid and Draisaitl separate, but that's a good one, right? Nugent Hopkins. Bravo.
Folk songs. Somebody...
Jim Sandlak. No.
Folk songs. Somebody awaken Woody Guthrie. We need a song about the Panthers' third line.
Yeah, the Panthers' third line. What does Lundell rhyme with? Quick.
Luosterainen.
The answer, my friend.
This is Luosterainen. Thanks, boys.
Marvelous stuff. Thank you. Until next week.
See you, boys.